G'day and welcome to Wellywood Wargaming. My name is Damon, and in this video I'll be taking a look at all of the brand spanking new Necromunda stuff that we had previewed over this past weekend. Now, life has got in the way a little bit. I've been meaning to do a video for a couple of days now, but I've just had to work, unfortunately. But I'm here now and I'm going to discuss both of these massive articles that are on the Warhammer community website. You can go and have a look at those now. The first one revealed everything on the new Necromunda box set, Hive Secundus. So I'm going to talk about all of the new Genestealer cult, Vansar, and of course Spyrer stuff there as well, as looking at the second article that came out a couple of days ago on the rest of the Spyrer crew. Now, I've been playing Necromunda since '95, so I'm sure I'm going to have some interesting thoughts and fears and praises of all this stuff. So stick with me. In the meantime, please do like, share, subscribe, and check out the Patreon as well as we get into this. Right then, let's take a look at the first article. This one came from the 18th, by the way, which I think is Sunday for most people. 18th of May 24. You can go and check this out on the Warhammer community. I'm not going to read out all of the fluff and stuff. We're going to get straight to the meat and potatoes of this. Otherwise, this video is just going to be too long. But plunder the haunted depths of Necromunda Hive Secundus. The general gist of this is that Hive Secundus, similar to Hive Primus, was a very wealthy and prosperous hive. It has been absolutely nuked from orbit by the Imperial House because of unwanted Genestealer taint, which happened by accident, of course. These things always do. And Lord Hailmore basically blasted the entire hive out of existence. There's now a huge, huge crater with cavernous depths within. Of course, a lot of the treasure and archaeo tech and whatnot is sort of, under there somewhere, irradiated and crawling with the remaining taint of Genestealer stuff. So that's what we've got to deal with here. Now, there is a video on here with a load of blurb and fluff in there too, but we're not going to talk about that too much. We're just going to take a look at the actual picture of the boxed set, which I must say looks very impressive indeed. We've got some really nice looking artwork with some Vansar archaeo hunters and what looks like an Horus Spyrer on the front cover there too, with a load of new Genestealer cult stuff. Now, of course, Genestealers or Genestealer cultists have been available as a playable faction in Necromunda for quite some time now. However, I think many people, including me, would agree that they haven't seen a lot of love. In fact, they haven't seen any love, really, and they certainly needed to be fleshed out a little bit more, I think. So that's what we've got with this box set. It's an interesting choice that we've got Vansar in here. I feel like Delac are the remaining house gang that hasn't seen much love. Of course, many people complain about the fact that they haven't got a vehicle yet, but it is what it is. Looking at the box, though, the front cover is fantastic. We've got a little icon in the bottom that says Zone Necromunda Game. So this means the format that we're playing it in. It's not really 3D. It's on a board similar to the Zone Mortalis tiles that we had with the first introduction or reintroduction of Necromunda since '95, which was N17 or N18. Now, in the picture here, we have got unfortunately, it describes later on as a paper board. It's not card, which I think is a real cop-out from Games Workshop. There's a real pattern of Games Workshop releasing boxed games with paper boards instead of actual cardboard nice boards, which I think is a real shame. I got the Warcry starter set and it was the same deal. Bit shit, really. It's just flimsy and it's going to fall apart. But that seems to be the way they go now, just a bit cheap and nasty. We've got a nice thick rule book, though, by the looks of it, and some doors and whatnot that we had with the original Necromunda. We've got the same templates. You've got your smaller and your larger blast markers. Some really nice coloured new dice. I might just get this for the dice, to be honest. And sort of fighter cards, and of course all the models within as well, which we're going to take a look at in a second. Range rulers as well. But when I look at this box set, apart from the models, of course, there's not really a lot of other stuff that I'm going to need personally. I've kind of got it all. I've got the templates, I've got the dice, I've got the doors, I've got all of that. I don't want a paper board. So really it's just the models and the rule book that I might need. So worth thinking about there. Of course, this will probably be ludicrously expensive as well, as most of these things are, but it is a bit underwhelming, if I'm honest. The fact that there's no 3D terrain in here is a bit of a shame. I think we can all unanimously agree that the best Necromunda box set that's been released so far was the one with the corpse grinders and the enforcers in it. It just had loads of nice 3D terrain. It was a real good value deal, that one. This one, not so much. It's Necromunda Light, unfortunately. You may remember at the end of last Necromunda campaign book, The Aranthian Succession Part 3, The Ruins of Yardlan, when Lady Hera met a surviving brother in his Spyrers suit, and the pair of them then descended into the darkness of the Underhells. There was a clue in the last, in the last Aranthian Succession book that Spyrers were going to come. I think we all knew that Spyrers were going to come. If you don't know what Spyrers are, just ignore me. You'll find out shortly. But if you played Necromunda in 95 like I did, then I think you'll either be very excited or a bit sort of groaning that they're coming back. But Spyrers are most definitely back, and in this box set we get one type of the famous Spyrers that we used to have in 95. So then, the Spyrers in question, the Horus suit in question here, it looks... I don't know if I like it, honestly. It looks interesting. It's definitely very different to the original Horus. It's much more sleek and sharp looking. The original Horus was a big, clumpy, massive dude in almost power armor with bolt gauntlets. You've got the same sort of vibe here, but these guys look very big. I'm not sure. The paint job's strange. It's a very good paint job, but it's very unlike anything else. They're very sort of insectoid and just sort of, I guess, sleek looking. They don't look like anything else in the 40k universe, really. Maybe some Mechanicum stuff, but it's interesting to see the design here being quite different. It's certainly refreshing. It's not what I expected. We've also got a flying blue baby here as well, which is pretty cool. And there's a little bit of blurb on the stuff that is contained with these Horus Spyrers here. So in Hive Secundus, it's a full game in a box. It contains 2 complete gangs from 3 diverse factions. We've got 2 Horus Spire Hunters pictured here. We've got a Caryatid Prime, which is obviously not just a normal Caryatid. This is a special Caryatid, a much bigger one by the looks of it. And we've got 8 Vansar Tech Hunters, 6 Twisted Malstrain Genestealers, and 4 Malstrain Tyramites, all new in plastic. There's also 8 plastic Brood Scum, making use of the existing Hive Scum with a combination of new heads, which is a bit of a cop-out, if you ask me, but we'll get into that in a second. The 2 Horus Spire Hunters can be built with a range of top-tier weaponry, while their Vansar allies are a new type of specialist with access to additional guns, equipment, and specialist skills. Let's take a look at the Vansar now. The Vansar in question, it looks like they are new bodies. Correct me if I'm wrong here, guys, but it looks like they're new bodies. I can't really tell here, but this is what we saw in the silhouette. Many people thought these were going to be Spyrers or something. I was bang on correct when I said that they're just Vansar with a new sort of kit. That is exactly what they are. They've got some really interesting sort of weapons and doodads here. What looks like... I don't know what the heavy weapon is, by the way, but we've got some really sort of predator-looking, targeting Auspex things or whatever they're called on the shoulders there. Cool-looking guys. Different poses, though. I think the bodies are slightly different poses, so these guys are definitely a new kit entirely. It's not old Vansar bodies with new bits. It's completely new. So it's nice to have these extra ones. We've got las guns in here. We've got some definitely weapons that I've seen before. There's what looks like a medic, with a sort of, syringe over the shoulder there and some sort of medic arm. He looks really, really cool with his white mask. I certainly like that one very much. We've also got what looks like a sniper. This one you could see quite clearly in the silhouette when that was released I'm thinking that it's probably a long las. It looks like a las gun barrel on it. So that is our first model with a long las, apart from maybe Yar Umbra. Who looks like he's actually just got a las gun. But the long las looks really, really nice. We've also got a grav gun next to that too. What other weapons have we got? We've got a guy with sort of like a comms system with a bunch of aerials, and a guy sort of reloading his las gun there as well. So 8 of these guys. I think the Vansar models are gorgeous. I've always loved the Vansar models, if I'm honest. I think the models are some of my favourites in Necromunda. They're not my favourite gang in Necromunda, but I always loved the models. I'm actually doing up a Vansar gang at the moment with all the Ash Wastes upgrades and backpacks and stuff. The Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles backpacks. As for the Genestealers, these aren't your run-of-the-mill pure strains. From the Patriarch down, these guys have been changed by the destruction of Secundus. It's not even clear that the Hive Mind would even want to pay them a visit by this point. Apparently, according to the video, the signal that these Genestealers are sending out to the hives and whatnot is so like messed up and twisted that the Tyranids are just like, nah, let's not go there, which I thought was really, really cool. This is where things get interesting though. So they're not pure strain Genestealers. They're not quite as powerful as pure strain Genestealers, thank God, because that would be awful. But they certainly look a bit like pure strain Genestealers. These guys look amazing. So sort of almost like a cross between a pure strain Genestealer and a Dryad from Age of Sigmar. They've got sort of bony sort of growths coming out the back. All of them are quite different. They've got very different faces. They're obviously painted differently here as well. And yeah, they almost look like sort of branch-like or almost fungal, perhaps, like a fungal infection. Really, really cool. I love the look of these guys. I certainly didn't expect to get anything like this. I thought that Genestealer cult would just be more cultists, not actual Genestealers and stuff, but that's what we've got here, and it's a welcome change. It'll be interesting to see what the rules are for these guys, because I think they probably will still be very, very, very scary indeed. But when you've got Spyrers, you need something to counteract the Spyrers, because Spyrers back in the day in N95 were utterly broken. Let's see how they are in the new version of the game. We've also got these Tyramites, which are the flying things that we saw an early preview picture of. Not sure what they do, but they look very, very cool. Yeah, really, really cool looking, grimdark as hell. But yeah, let's have a look at this second page of Genestealers. I really like the fact that they've got variations. All the heads are very different. The arms look all twisted and crooked and stuff. They look like they'll be really good to paint, particularly if you're into your sort of real grimdark, grimy stuff like I am. So that's the Genestealers. We've then got some cultists as well, and this is a bit of a shame, I have to admit. So we've got the original Hive Scum bodies, and all they've done here is given us a sprue of Genestealer cult heads. Now, the heads in question are not the same as your generic sort of neophytes and whatnot. They do look a little bit more mutated and weird, slightly more. The hills have eyes, I think, here. And they do really match the aesthetic of the Scum bodies here as well, I have to say. So it's nice to have that, but I do think it's a bit of a cop-out that we haven't got, you know, unique new models for these guys, because I would have liked to have seen some continuation of the sort of neophyte style, maybe a bit more minor-like, but with new differences. Just new models would have been good. These aren't new models, and I guess you could almost argue that the Van Saar aren't new models either, because they are so similar to the ordinary Van Saar. But that's that. We've then got a rule book which looks quite chunky. We've got a 176-page softback rule book, 2 double-sided paper gaming mats. Yeah, there we go. So confirmation that it's paper, unfortunately. Range rulers, templates, 88 cards, 16 dice. I do like the dice. I have to say they're a really nice colour. But that's basically it from the box set. We're going to go ahead and look at the second article, though, which was all about the rest of the Spyrers that don't come in this box set. But what are your thoughts on this box set? Are you excited about it? Is it going to be too expensive for you? Do you really want to get it? I probably won't be buying it, if I'm honest, because, well, it's probably just going to be too out of my price range, I imagine. But all of the stuff in it, I'll probably get separately. Maybe I'll split it with someone. I'm not really sure, but I'm excited about the whole thing. I love the fact that you've got these sort of archeo hunters and a real hunt in the depths of Hive Secundus, and Genestealer cults being back in it is fantastic. But I'm excited to take a look at the rest of the Spyrers now, so let's do that. This article was from the 20th, so 2 days after that, we had an article titled, Join the Underhive Headhunt with the Malcodon, Yeld and Jakara Spyrers. No sooner than the Oris stomped into view at this weekend's Warhammer preview, amid all the rest of the bounty hidden in Necromunda Hive Secundus, than he's joined by 3 other classic patterns of Spire Hunter. So what we've got here is a picture of 4 Spyrers. Now, Spyrers are nobles from the Uphives who put on these sort of war suits, hunting suits, and take part in hunting parties to Hive Secundus to sort of prove themselves, I suppose, with all this high-tech gadgetry and weapons. And if they return, obviously they're pretty hard-ass. If they don't, then they die an honourable death, I suppose. So Spyrers back in Elite 5 had some really strong looking aesthetics. All of them looked very, very different. I have to say here, though, all of them look very similar. I think that's possibly due to the fact that they've all been painted the same color. Back in the day, we would have had these all in sort of almost Power Ranger different colors. And I think I probably would do that now, is just to sort of paint them different colors so that you've got, you know, actual visual differences between them, because the silhouettes are quite different, I have to admit, but they're not unique enough from each other for me to yeah, you know, I'd have to paint them different colors, I think, just to sort of get the best out of them. But yeah, when the Oris is classed as a heavy Spire Hunter, the Malcadon, Yeld, and Jakara are light Spirers. So this is a weird deviation from the original ones as well. They were all kind of equals back in the day. You picked one of them to be your leader, and that was basically that. But the Malcadon, Yeld, Jakara, and Oris were all on the same sort of even keel. They were all sort of equal-ish in power level. Now, though, we've got 3 that are light, you know, light Spirers, and 1 that's a heavy Spirer. So I imagine the Oris is going to be more expensive as a result. It's clearly a bigger model as well. Cunningly tooled to fit the same sprue, these 3 variants share bodies but retain their signature armaments and unique methods of fighting. The archetypes remain the same. The Malcadon is still a hyper-mobile brawler with paired claws and web incisors, though they now sport a drop rig and grapnel launcher as standard, and may switch the claws for paired toxin whips. Sounds pretty cool. The Yeld is a flyer who can pick paired laser gauntlets or missile gauntlets, while the Jakara fights with a mirror shield and either a monomolecular blade or a Naga blade. Not sure what that is. Some really cool pictures here fighting Genestealers. The kit comes with 4 bodies and the armaments are interchangeable for a high degree of possibility. This modularity also means that you can mix and match loadouts and create your leader, a Spire Hunt master skilled in numerous disciplines and therefore even more of a terror to dispatch. So let's go back to the picture and have a look at these, and we'll talk about each one individually. So on the top left there we have got the Malcadon. Now the Malcadon is the sort of sneaky spider-like one, so he's got the claws there, also toxin whips, and he's also, if you can look closely on the top of those claws, he's got web, almost web gauntlets, I suppose. So he's going to be able to web people, sneak around with his spider-like sort of skills, and was always my favorite Spyrer, I have to admit. He's just fucking cool. So that is your Malcadon. It's interesting that you can have multiple different weapon options on these guys, because originally they only had the one loadout. On the top right there, we have got the Yeld. The Yeld is the flyer. This guy actually flies, so I imagine in the rules he will have the flight rule, and he's armed here with what look like the laser gauntlets. Now, those look like fairly long-barreled las guns, really, and the wings are pretty cool there as well. He's got a sort of wing pack on the back there, really dynamic pose. Of course, all of these, I think, have got a tactical rock. 1, 2, 3 of them have got a tactical rock, so that's interesting. You know what I think about tactical rocks. Beneath them, though, on the bottom left, we have got the Jakara. Jakara was the fast, hard-hitting glass cannon close combat weapon master with the sort of bladed arm there, the monomolecular blade and the sort of mirror shield. Was very, very cool. Those are 3 of your types of Spyrers. Then you've got your Oris from the box set as well, the Hive Secundus box set, who is the bigger, tankier sort of beast. So you've got a flying one that's really quick and stuff. You've got a sneaky, stealthy one. You've got a close combat monster, you know, sort of agile one. And then you've got your absolute beast in the Oris. Then, though, at the bottom right there, you have something that is a hybrid and a leader, I imagine, as we just read the fluff there. We've got a leader with 2 different weapons from 2 different types. So we've got the bladed arm from the Jakara, and we've also got the claw from the Malcadon. So really interesting that you can mix and match. It's a bit like an Eldar, you know, Autark or whatever they're called. You can mix and match between these. I wonder if you can mix and match with the Oris stuff. Probably not. It's probably just the light ones, I have to say. But that's really, really interesting. There is a little bit about how they're going to work. Of course, that's a box set on its own, in its own right. So you're going to be able to buy that box set and probably field 3 or 4 of them as a gang, because they'll be so expensive. And they certainly were back in the day. But I tell you what, they were so hard to deal with. Now we've got Genestealers, though. We'll preview some of the rules closer to release, but suffice to say that each Spire Hunter is pricey in credits and deadly in the field, of course, naturally. But what they lack in numbers, they make up for in activations. Now here's where it gets interesting, of which they have 2 each per turn, for 4 actions per turn. The name of Hellmore will be whispered in fear once again. So the Spyrers' unique new mechanic is that they get 4 actions basically, or 2 activations, 4 actions. So you could pin one of them, they could stand up and charge you. That's terrifying. You could, you're really going to have to think about how you deal with these guys. And I suppose tactically it's going to be very interesting for the Spyrer player as well, because you've got lots and lots of choice with what you can do. Think about, each of these guys has 2 goes effectively, which is very, very cool. Do I think it's going to be a little bit broken and a little bit too good for the game? I mean, Necromunda's taken a real sort of paramilitary sort of route, and all of the gangs are far better than they ever were in 95, with much better weaponry, las cannons, and all sorts of cool shit in abundance. I'm sure a well-aimed melter gun will deal with an Horus, that's for sure. So I wouldn't worry about it too much, especially the Genestealers, I imagine, will tear through these guys fairly easily as well. So you've got some new powerful guys in Necromunda, 2 new gangs effectively. You've got the Spyrers, which is a unique and new gang for new Necromunda, and you've also got the Genestealers to add to your Genestealer cult gangs. I presume it might be that you still get your Genestealer cult gangs, but these are your Hive Secundus Genestealer gangs. I'm not sure if there's going to be 2 gangs or you can merge them all together. Who knows? Or if the new rules for these Genestealers replace the ones that we've already got for Genestealer cults. I wouldn't mind that too much, if I'm honest, because they need reworking. The champions only having 1 wound is pretty terrible. Anyway, sorry, that was a lot of information. I just thought we'd go through it all and have a look. I've had a few days to look at all this, and I am excited about it. I really am, and I probably will get the Spyrers at some point just to sort of play them, but I would probably use them as NPC sort of gang in my campaigns rather than actually playing them seriously, because I think they're probably going to be a bit good. But I can't wait to see the rules and discuss those. It'll be really fun. In the meantime, though, I want them to release more Apocrypha Necromunda, because there's definitely way more room to do some of that, and they haven't done that for a while, so hopefully they'll do some soon. Anyway, that's enough, rambling for me, so I will be back with another video real soon. In the meantime, please do, like, share, subscribe, comment down below as well, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.